All right, guys. We are going to talk about subtracting expressions today. This is in lesson 4-7. So you're going to need to make sure you have your note packet in front of you, and that you are turned to the page that has the 4-7 on it. So it looks just like this, subtracting expressions. Okay. So we're going to go through and as I am going through the video, feel free to pause. Make sure you're writing down everything that I am writing down and following along with the notes just like you would if we were in normal class and I was there. Okay, so the first thing is the objective. I can subtract expressions using properties of operations. Okay. So get that written down. All right. So the first thing you need to remember when we are subtracting expressions is there's a specific rule we need to follow that's different than when we added them. When we added them, we were able to just go through, combine like terms, and make it a little easier. Now, when you're subtracting, there is an added element of needing to distribute the subtraction sign. Okay. So right away in your notes, first thing, when subtracting expressions, always remember to distribute the subtraction sign, okay? All right. So I'm going to go through, we're going to look at this example together, and I'm going to show you exactly what I mean when I talk about distributing that subtraction. All right, so get my pen tool up here. Okay. So what you're going to need to do first is we are going to look at, with this subtraction sign, the subtraction sign basically is like having a invisible -1 here, okay? And you're going to need to distribute that -1 to everything after it, okay? So what's going to happen is this expression up front, this 3x squared plus 5x minus 6, whatever's in front of the subtraction sign, that is what is going to be, you're just going to keep that the same. So I'm just going to rewrite this because we've got 3x squared and then plus 5x minus 6. Now here's the added element that you're going to need to distribute to. So we're going to distribute this -1 to each expression in the parentheses, okay? Another way to think about this is when you have just a -1, basically all you're doing is you're switching the sign of everything on the inside of the parentheses. So if it's positive, it's going to become negative. If it's negative, it's going to become positive. Okay, so we're going to go -1 times 4x squared is -4x squared. All right, -1 times 7x is -7x. And then -1 times -3 would be +3. Okay, now we have an expression where we are basically just combining our like terms. Okay, so our like terms in this situation would be 3x squared and -4x squared. Okay, we've got positive 5x and -7x. Excuse my bad handwriting. I'm literally writing with my mouse. And then we've got -6 and +3. Okay, so I'm going to go through, simplify by combining my like terms. So 3x squared minus 4x squared would be -1x squared. Positive 5x minus 7x would be -2x. And then -6 plus 3 would be -3. So the expression, the simplified expression after subtracting would be -1x squared minus 2x minus 3. Okay, make sure you have all of these steps written down, not just the answer. Okay, so you can go back and look at it as needed. Okay. All right. So let's look at another example. Okay. All right. The second example we have is subtract 17 plus 4.5m plus 8k minus, and then in parentheses, 7.5m minus 9 plus 4k. All right, so if you want to try this one on your own, pause, see if you can try and figure this one out, and then you can resume and you can watch me do it. Okay, so I'm going to go through and do this example. So the first thing I'm going to do, I have my invisible one. I'm going to distribute it to each thing on the inside of the parentheses. So my first expression, as I said before, does not change. So I've got 17 plus 4.5 m plus 8k. All right, and then I'm going to distribute. So negative 1 times 7.5m is just going to become negative 7.5m. Okay, negative 1 times negative 9 becomes positive 9. Okay, and negative 1 times positive 4k would just be negative 4k. All right, again, I'm going to look for my like terms. Okay, remember, like terms are the ones with the same variable, okay, or no variable. So in this case, my like terms would be 17 and positive 9. I've got positive 4.5m and negative 7.5m. Okay, then I've got 8k and negative 4k. I'm going to rewrite that negative sign just right here just so you guys can see it. Okay, just making it really big. All right, so now we're just going to go through and we are going to combine our like terms. Okay, so we've got 17 plus 9, and 17 plus 9 is 26. Okay, I've got 4.5m minus or plus negative 7.5m. Okay, so that's going to get us negative 3m. 8k minus 4k is just going to be positive 4k. So our simplified expression, our answer here would be 26 minus 3m plus 4k. All right. All right, let's look at a word problem here. Dun, dun, dun. You guys will do fine. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to go through, we're going to determine what our two expressions are that we're going to be subtracting, and then we're going to actually subtract them. So we've got Alita's family wants to put a tiled border around their swimming pool. What expression represents the total area of the border? Okay, so we are going to need to take out our the different like lengths here. Okay, so let's look first at how we're going to figure out the area of each thing. Okay, so the area of the water, if you guys look just here, it looks like it's 14 by 2x plus 14. Okay, so we're going to do that first. So we're going to go 14 times 2x plus 14. Okay, so this is for the pool. Okay, now I'm going to look at the length of the pool with the border around it, with the cement border. Okay, notice that there's 2 feet on either side. Okay, so if I were to extend this whole guy across, I'd end up with 2x plus 14 plus 2 plus 2. So this whole thing across would actually become 2x, or I'm sorry, I misspoke. So the 2x plus 14 goes this way. Okay, so let's look at it this way. Sorry about that, guys. So we've got 2x plus 14 plus 2 plus 2, so that doesn't change. So the whole thing would be 2x, I'm going to write it up here, plus 14 plus 2 plus 2. Okay, because I'm taking into account this part of the border and this part of the border. Okay, so that could simplify if you combine your like terms to 2x plus 18. Okay. All right, so I've got 2x plus 18, and I'm going to multiply because I need to find the area of this whole thing. So I'm going to multiply that by my width here, which originally the water was just 14, but with the 2 added on either side, like I had drawn before, would be 14 plus 2 plus 2. Okay, so the length would be 14 plus 2 plus 2. So that would become, we've got 18. All right. So now my dimensions of the water plus the border to get the area would be 18 and then times 2x plus 18. Okay. All right, so now what I need to do is I need to actually subtract my two. First, I'm going to distribute, then I'm going to subtract my two terms, okay? So with the water, if I distribute 14 times 2x would be 28x. All right, and then 14 times 14 would be 196. Okay, so that's, again, for just the water, okay? I'll put a W here just to remind you, water, okay? Now I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to distribute 18 times 2x is 36x, okay? And 18 times 18 is 324. All right, so now I have my two expressions that I'm going to subtract. So I've got 36x plus 324. And I know I'm writing really slow, sorry guys, minus 28x plus 196. So now I'm going to do what we talked about before. I'm going to distribute this negative sign. So I'm going to pretend there's a negative 1 here. And I'm going to rewrite my expression. So I've got 36x plus 324 because my first expression does not change. Okay, then I'm going to end up with negative 1 times 28x, or the opposite of 28x is negative 28x. Okay, and then negative 1 times 196, or the opposite of 196 is negative 196. And then I'm going to go through and I'm going to combine my like terms. So in this case, 36x and negative 28x are my like terms. And we've got positive 324 and negative 196. All right, so we've got 36x minus 28, which is 8x. And then we've got 324 minus 196, which is going to get us positive 128. All right, so the area of just the border, because I took the area of the water with the border minus the area of the just the water, subtracted it, I got 8x plus 128. This is a very long problem. Very long problem. What I really want you guys to get out of this is the idea of making an expression and then simplifying it. Okay? This one would be one that we would take a lot of time on if I was with you, and we can go over it again tomorrow if needed. Okay? All right. Last example. I want you guys to try this one on your own. Go through it, see if you got it, and then come back and check and make sure that you are getting the correct answer. So you should get, okay, if you pause, do the problem. I'll know if you didn't, because no one can do this in their head. Okay, you should get 0.04x, and then plus 0.09. Okay. All right. Make sure that you guys have everything written down in your notes, that you're feeling good about this. Okay. And I will be back to answer any questions hopefully tomorrow. Okay. All right. Have a good day, guys.